Blessings and welcome to the path to freedom. This wonderful path where we get to set ourselves free to be in ever expanding love and peace and joy and harmony and abundance and wholeness and beauty and all of these wonderful qualities, free to forever soar into higher vibrations, into higher levels of consciousness, free to forever allow for greater and grander expressions of who and what we are to emerge from within us. Also free to, or free from fear and worry and doubt, sense of not being enough, a sense of not having enough, lack, scarcity, separation, all of these lower vibrations. Today we are taking a stroll down the avenue of manifestation. I heard a wonderful song, and I'm not quite sure about the artist, but there was a beautiful line in this song where she sings seed, root, shoot, fruit. Seed, root, shoot, fruit, which is such a beautiful metaphor as to how manifestation happens. Because you may have heard me say that every single idea that we catch, every single vision, intention, goal, dream that we catch, that come into our awareness, that come into our mind, they are like seeds. They are like spiritual seeds planted by the cosmic gardener called God or spirit or the universe or life or whatever we want to call it. But these are seeds. And just like with any physical seed, the process of manifestation follows principles, and there's stages to it. And so what I love about this line from this song, seed, root, shoot, and fruit, is that it reminds us so beautifully of how this process goes. So we catch a seed, we catch a vision or an intention. Now, the cosmic gardener, it needs to not only purchase or acquire the particular seed, but they need to put it into the ground. And so what we do, we need only catch this vision or intention, but we need to actually put it into the soil of consciousness by saying yes to it. A dream that we're not moving towards, that we're not willing to do the inner work to allow to emerge, it's nothing but a fantasy. A fantasy gets us nowhere. It is when we begin to move in a particular direction that a fantasy becomes a dream or a goal or a vision or intention. Just sitting in our office daydreaming about a better life or a different kind of life, it's not going to make that change. It's not until we actually say, hey, I'm going to do it. I'm going to begin to move in that direction. I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know anything, but I'm going to do it. I'm tired of being pushed by misery and suffering. I want something greater to emerge into my life. It is in that moment when we say yes to it that we're actually planting the seed. Now, what happens when a seed is planted in the ground? Well, it begins to shoot. Actually, it begins to root. I don't know the full process, the organic process of what happens when a seed is put into the ground. I've never studied it. But at some point, roots begin to shoot out of the seed. I would imagine that things happen within the seed before that happens. But the moment it is put into the ground, if the conditions are right or ripe, in terms of temperature, in terms of humidity, in terms of pH, in terms of all manner of factors, I would believe, in that moment, the seed begins to move towards the highest possibility of itself. It begins to allow, it begins to prepare itself for the emergence, for the unfolding of that highest possibility. And at some point, it begins to root. So roots begin to grow out of it. And what are these roots? These roots, they are to stabilize the seed, and they are conduits through which the seed gets all the nourishments that it needs, all the water that it needs, everything that it needs, except for sunlight, comes through these roots. And so we need to allow this idea to root itself in our consciousness. And what does that mean? It means that we need to move into vibrational alignment with it. We need to stabilize it. We need to make it. It's been a long, long time since I said these words, but we need to make it a part of our inner reality, which simply means that we move into the knowing, feeling tone that it is possible. It is possible for this vision, this dream, this intention to emerge, to happen, to really manifest. And then we move into the even greater vibrational alignment where we take on the feeling that this is done. It's done. It's already happened in the infinite mind of spirit. It's already happened, and it is happening now. This is not some future thing. It's not going to show up in some future moment, but just like that seed, that physical, let's make it a rose seed. Just like the rose seed planted in the ground, the moment it is planted in the ground, when the conditions are right and ripe, the happening begins. The emergence begins. Even long before anything shows above ground, it is still emerging, it is still unfolding, the manifestation is still happening. But we need to be grounded and anchored in the knowing that this is happening now. Ultimately, in the knowing that this is already done, it's already happened. So it's only a matter of this idea transitioning from the invisible into the visible. And then what happens? Then the seed, the rose seed, begins to shoot, which means that it begins to stretch toward the surface, and it breaks through the surface. Sometimes it breaks through concrete, and it begins to show. And similarly, when we have said yes to a vision, when we are moving ourselves into vibrational alignment with that, simply meaning that we begin to move in that direction. First, we move in consciousness, then we move in action, in the doing realm. First, we move in the being realm, then we move in the doing realm. And the signs of manifestation will begin to occur. It might take a while, yes. And as the beautiful statement goes, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. So we need to be patient, and ultimately we need to trust. We need to trust that this is happening, that this is already done, that this is unfolding perfectly. However long it takes, in whatever form it takes, this is perfection happening within me and right before our eyes. But there comes a point where signs begin to show up, opportunities, possibilities, doors opening, new paths revealing themselves that are in alignment with this vision. So this vision, this spiritual seed, is now beginning to shoot. And as we continue to allow ourselves, as we continue to allow ourselves to move in this direction, being willing to change, being willing to release and let go of that which no longer serves this new iteration of who and what we are to emerge, being willing to move into uncharted territory, into the unknown, being willing to move beyond our comfort zones and all of that, all these beautiful spaces of preparations that we get to move through. The shoots are going to grow stronger, they're going to grow longer, they're going to become more vital. In other words, more and more and more signs of manifestation will begin to show up. And ultimately, as with not necessarily the rose seed, so we might want to change the rose seed to an apple seed at this point. So there comes a point where the apple seed has grown into an apple tree, and this tree begins to bear fruit. Beautiful, gorgeous, tasty, yummy apples, juicy apples. So this is where, translating this to the spiritual manifestation, or this spiritual realm and the manifestation, the art of manifestation, this is where we begin to reap the rewards of the work that we have done. So now we're not only enjoying the shoots, but now benefits are coming. It might be coin of the realm, it might be a different relationship, it might be a new career, it might be whatever the case, whatever the vision holds for us, it will now begin to show up. That which we at one point perhaps perceived as the outcome or end result will begin to show up. Obviously, as with the apple tree, once it has begun to bear fruit, that's not the end of the tree. That's only the beginning of the next stage of the tree. So the tree keeps on growing, and the number of fruits keep on expanding. And so it is with us and our visions and intentions, that once we have reached what we may have believed was our vision, was our intention, that's only the portal into the next version, into the expanded version. So we're always, as one beautiful wise woman once said, we're always at the beginning of our next level. So many of us are very impatient when it comes to manifestation. When it comes to the words me, I, mine, we want it to happen as quickly as possible, and we want it to happen the way we want it to happen. Well, we need to be very wise and aware that when the gardener plants that apple seed into the ground, they do not claim that this apple seed is to turn out this particular way. They are not describing and articulating the number of branches, the number of leaves, the color of the leaves, the nuances of the leaves, the shape of the tree, how any attribute of the tree at all. But they are trusting that within the seed, within the apple seed, is the perfect blueprint for the highest possibility for this particular seed. So we are very, very wise to surrender our visions, our intentions, our goals, our dreams, not defining them, not limiting spirit, not putting a lid on the creative genius that spirit is. This loving presence that is all there is, that is this cosmic gardener that planted this vision, this dream, this intention within our consciousness in the first place. This loving presence that is the one mind that knows and sees all. This infinite mind that holds every single possibility for each and every single one of our lives, each and every single one of our visions, intentions, goals, dreams, and that absolutely knows what needs to happen, how it needs to happen, and when it needs to happen for the highest possibility. Not only for any possibility, but for the highest possibility. So the vision that we may have caught, it's only the beginning. It's only the beginning. It's not the end of the journey. It's only to get us started. It's only to get us started. And we're so wise to not confine ourselves to our ability to imagine anything, but to always be open and available for our visions, our intentions, our dreams, our goals, this spiritual seed to come into ever greater and grander expressions of itself. So we are wise to trust. We are wise to trust that this loving presence is all there is, that it is good, that it is benevolent always for itself, and that it is always expressing itself perfectly, meaning we and God are one. God is good, therefore all that is happening in our lives is good. We might not be able to see it, we definitely might not always be able to feel it, but nonetheless, every single challenge is a gift and a blessing of transformation. Every single challenge is a preparation, an invitation for us to go higher, deeper, wider, to release and let go of something that no longer serves, so that the new, the greater, the grander may emerge. So the seed, or the seed analogy to this path of manifestation, is seed, root, shoot, and fruit. In that order. The fruits do not come before the roots, and the shoots do not come after the fruits, but in this order. Seed, root, shoot, and fruit. So the invitation for us is to really look into our minds, dig up that old dream that we used to have, dust it off, the one that we said, it's not possible, I cannot do it. That one, dust it off and begin to say yes to it. Cultivate the willingness to say yes to it, and then begin to move in the direction. And then ask the powerful questions that seem to come up very frequently nowadays. This choice that I'm about to make, or this choice that I just made, is this in alignment with this vision? As I'm now beginning to move in this direction, am I moving in alignment with it or not? That's the invitation, and that's the questions. Thank you so much for tuning in, for participating, for joining me. Until we meet again, I absolutely bless your day, and I absolutely bless your way. With much love, many blessings. Namaste.